Standing by for the Defence Secretary, John Healey. And in the meantime, we're joined now by GB News presenter, The Mail's Andrew Pearce, and The Mirror's Kevin Maguire. Very interesting there, Selina Scott.
Yeah.
Talking about the fact, you know, we this morning are talking about, are we in a more dangerous world? Are we going to buy fighter jets, apparently, with nuclear tactical capability? You know, President Trump upbraiding Israel and Iran for the Middle East. And meanwhile, we have a woman in her 70s who does not feel safe on the streets of London and says, where are the police that this government promised? And, of course, we know that tackling violence against women and girls was one of the priorities of this government.
And you never see a policeman in central London. That's not an exaggeration. In central London a lot. You rarely see them on a tube or a train. They're just not around. I don't know what they're doing. I'm a huge supporter of the police. They do a great job, but I think perhaps they're doing stuff that's not... You need a presence, because that's a deterrent.
But to be fair to the Metropolitan Police, they're presumably extremely stretched.
No, absolutely.
And they would say, in fact, in that statement, they say they are on the ground in central London.
Well, I don't see them.
Of course, as I said, that's no comfort to someone who was robbed.
We are supposed to be getting 13,000 additional police officers. Some of them be special, some part-time. I'm not sure that commitment's even holding anymore because of the cuts.
13,000 on the lower Home Office budget, relatively.
But John, they protected the police, or said the police will go up, but the rest will go down.
Well, are we going to get those 13,000?
You know how many
I don't think we will.
Well, I think you'll end up with more part-time specials and fewer full-timers.
Let's put that to the Defence Secretary, John Healey. Of course, we will talk to you about defence matters more broadly, but I don't know if you know the case. I mean, Selina Scott is just, you know, one individual, but it represents this sense that people don't feel safe from crime. She's had an apology from the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. She was robbed in broad daylight in the West End of London. There were no police officers around, and when she filed her report, she didn't then get the visit from the police the next day that she was expecting. You promised to halve violence against women and girls. You promised to increase the number of police officers. And now we're talking about the state of the world, and women do not feel safe on the streets of their own towns and cities.
I don't know the case. I haven't heard about that. But I'm a local MP, and so I know that people really care about not feeling safe on the streets. I know that they have seen over the last 10 to 15 years the neighbourhood policing that used to be there taken away. And I know that that was part of why people voted for a Labour government last year and said, look, we will try and bring back the neighbourhood policing role. We'll deal with the escalating levels of violence, particularly against women and girls. And that is part of the pledge that the Home Secretary has set on delivering during this Parliament.
Well, it can't come soon enough, and it will come too late for Selina. She says she's not going to go back into the West End. Meanwhile, we have this security strategy, and we understand now that the UK is at risk of direct threat, direct missile attack, in fact, on our own soil. I mean, extremely alarming warnings. Is it time for us all to get a bomb shelter, Defence Secretary?
We're not expecting, nor should we expect, any sort of direct attack or invasion today or tomorrow, but we are under constant attack, sabotage and threats to our undersea cables and the networks we depend on. Cyber attacks that are serious and daily and driven by hostile states. And our strategic defence review 3 weeks ago, just like the security strategy you referred to yesterday, tells us that we do need to take our homeland defences more seriously. And part of what you'll see discussed at NATO here in The Hague this afternoon by the leaders of the 32 nations is a recognition that border security, energy security, cyber security are all part of that bigger national security that we as NATO nations need to step up, and we will. And it's part of it.
With respect, you don't buy fighter jets with the ability to carry nuclear bombs because you're addressing a cyber threat, do you?
No, of course not. And this is additional alongside the core defence commitments that the NATO leaders will also make this afternoon to a new benchmark for defence spending, but also new capabilities. And what Keir Starmer is announcing today is Britain stepping up its contribution to that NATO deterrence playing a part in the established nuclear NATO mission, but also reinforcing our British industrial base, because 20,000 jobs are supported by this programme. Over 100 companies in the wider supply chain across the UK are connected to this programme. So this is a good day for NATO, it's a good day for Britain's industry, and it's a bad day for Putin.
Defence Secretary, it's Martin here. You currently have, it's being spoken of, 120 members of your own party who are talking about trying to stamp down the benefits bill that will cut personal independence payments. Now, I should declare an interest here. I chair a mental health charity. Our research shows these potential changes are devastating for people with mental health. The assessment was already poor for people with mental health. But what we have under the new system, where you get points if you're in long-term sick or disabled, you get points in lots of different categories. And currently, you have to have a certain number of points to be able to claim PIP. Under the new system, if you don't have 4 points in one category, you won't get PIP. Well, for people who have mental health problems, they will have problems with cleaning and dressing and budgeting and bathing themselves to a level of extent, because mental health is universal. So people with mental health problems are more likely to fail the new PIP test than anyone else. And many of them say it will actually stop them working because they won't have the funds to work. Is this Labour values?
Well, first of all, I applaud you for chairing the mental health charity. And if you do that, you'll recognise that this is a system that is failing millions of people, that condemns them to say they'll never work again in order to get their social security payments, that doesn't offer them the either right to try work, the guarantee that they won't lose their benefits, or the one-to-one help to get into work.
Sorry, Defence Secretary, PIP, we're talking about PIP. It is not an in-work benefit. It's a benefit for people whether they work or not. So I'm not sure why you've gone into work. Can we talk about the PIP analysis that's going to lead to potentially hundreds of thousands of people with mental and physical health problems getting money cut, which in many cases they're telling us will stop them being able to afford to make the adjustments they need to go to work?
No, indeed, and the problems with PIP are part of the failing system. We're in a situation now where more than 1,000 people a day are signing on for PIP. That's more than doubled since the end of the pandemic. It's part of 3 million people, essentially, who never can be in the workforce because of the health problems they face. And we want to make sure that if we have this safety net in the future, that we can direct the resources to those who need it most, and that we can put in place, including for those on PIP, the support to try and get into work so that they can start to earn for themselves. We've got a system at the moment that is failing millions of people, and if we want to see it survive and sustained in the future, we have to change it.
So you have 120 members of your own party who are very worried about the fact 1 in 4 people will lose their personal independence payment. Are they wrong to be worried about it? They should just back the bill and be happy. Is that what you're going to tell them?
Nobody's happy. Nobody finds change easy. But the big challenge here is we have a system that is failing millions of people. We came into government and we were elected to try and rebuild Britain, fix the broken parts of the system that we inherited from the previous government. We're setting about doing that. And by doing that, we'll be able to direct the social security payments most to those who need it most and can't work. And we'll be able to put in place the necessary support for those who may wish to and can work to be able to give the chance to do so. And we can't do that without changing the system. And that's really at the heart of the choice next week when we face the welfare bill and the legislation in Parliament.
Secretary of State for Defence, John Healey, thank you very much for your time this morning and good luck at the NATO conference today.